Well, hello there, it's Matthew, Ashley Miller on this, the Kiwi Millennial short podcast. I'm not sure I'm doing a podcast because I ain't gonna cover this. New Zealand had, sets up mandatory quarantine camps for COVID patients. Wow, people, wow. Yeah, I decided to do the test run. I'm going to check on Dlive just to be sure it's all going. Awesome. It's going good. Over patience. Well, that means I can hear my own voice. That means it's all going good. Just that's on Dlive, and I'm just testing things out, people. Just being sure things are working because I am going to be doing a big podcast tomorrow, New Zealand time, 8 a.m. at New Zealand time, and there's going to be a lot to talk about, so I hope I'll see you there, and feel free to join me on the Dlive as well, and I'm just doing a test run though, see how things are working, because I actually have made a countdown timer as well. And I'm going to be testing things out. So, well, any further ado, let's just get to it. Yes, let's get to it there. And we're going to go better. Let's play.
Left and their media poodles have long held up New Zealand as the model for how to properly deal with a lot of things, including COVID. But anyone who loves freedom should take note, because the Kiwis have a terrifying new response to rising COVID case numbers. They're throwing people into quarantine camps.
If someone refuses in our facilities.
Wow, people, quarantine camps. So I'm going to go back a bit, yeah. Quarantine camps. And for me, from my point of view, I call them detention areas or prisons, because for communist nations, they call it the gulags. Yes, the gulags, or labor camps or something. So people, there's something rotten about Ardern, and here's why. Well, let's continue.
If someone refuses in our facilities to be tested, they have to keep staying. So they won't be able to leave after 14 days. They have to stay on for another 14 days. So it's a pretty good incentive. You either get your tests done and make sure you're cleared, or we will keep you in a facility longer. So I think...
Wow, people, you heard that? You heard what Ardern just said? We say, oh, if you don't get your test, we're going to keep you longer for 2 weeks. Yes, 2 weeks, people. Jacinda Ardern said it. She really said it, people, and yeah, we are going to be having those quarantine camps. Of course, she's in for a second turn. Of course, she had won the election because people were brainwashed by the media, were silly enough to believe it. And that's the thing though, people ain't going to wake up till there's a lot of bad stuff happening into the country. So, well, let's just continue.
Most people will look at that
and
take the...
Really? That frickin' smile! Really, people? I have to put that up for another 3 more years. See, hear that, people? I have to put that up for another 3 more years. For crying out loud. Ugh! Take it away!
I'll take the test.
Oh.
Not leaving the camp until you're negative. The left's other COVID role model.
She said it, and boy, look at that camera that I'm showing you. Wow, it sounds like I see it like something out of China. Boy, and that's what they use to take people's faces in the credit, the social credit system. People, this is frightening stuff. And it is going to be coming to our country pretty soon.
Well, the EU is taking equally drastic measures. They're requiring
Yeah, the EU people, also in the European Union.
government officials to use thermal imaging cameras designed by a Chinese company, the same one that provides surveillance equipment to the concentration camps that they call re-education camps for the Uyghur Muslims.
Wow, that's even China people, for crying out loud. Not just the Muslims, but also the Christians as well, and probably even the Buddhists. Those who do practice religion. I know I not believe in either Christianity or Muslim or Islam or something, or Buddhist, but this is insane, people. This is really insane.
Joining me now is Victor Davis Hanson, Hoover Institution Senior Fellow. Victor, are these the type of scenarios we're going to be facing under a Biden administration?
Ooh.
Yeah, it's frightening. I mean, here the virus started in China, it was spread from China, and now China is offering the West the methodology and technology of fascism to supposedly cure what they started. It reminds me of Crassus in Rome. You know, he had the private fire brigade. He pulled up when a fire was devouring a house, and he said, for a price, I'll be willing to put your fire out, but better yet, I'll buy it at rock bottom prices. That's what the Chinese, that whole technology and methodology, I guess, is seen in the West by. But it's also bizarre because we're not in an ascending pattern. We're having 1 million tests per day almost, so we're bound to have more cases. But the cases are mostly asymptomatic. They're more younger. The death rate is going back down. The therapeutics, medicines are improving. The vaccination is on the horizon. It's not.
Oh yeah, the vaccination, but I'll be talking about it in my podcast tomorrow. I'll be talking it in the podcast tomorrow. I can't say it again because I always did it twice. Yeah.
Not the time to double down on this lockdown, and it begs the question, why are these people doing these things? And in the case of New Zealand, they have a nation of 5 million people. They've only lost, tragically, but they've lost 25 people.
25
that's
people.
That's an astounding low number.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, that's more of Ardern, for crying out loud.
To throw away personal freedom.
Yeah.
And here in the United States, whether it's Gavin Newsom or
take it away!
Obama
Take it
or
away!
Joe Biden, they've all said that this is an opportunity not to let it go to waste.
Sorry, people are only going like that because that Ardern's hideous smart, for crying out loud. Ugh. This reminds me of Cruella de Vil in the 101 Dalmatian, for crying out loud. It's pretty much similar. Well, it makes a pretty good actor for Cruella de Vil. Oh, man. Really?
Hillary Clinton was explicit about it. They
Yeah,
want
but
to use
Victor,
the
I got to ask you.
pandemic and the lockdown to recalibrate things.
Yeah, speaking of that, but that's why these polls showing that Trump is behind in Michigan, given what's at stake in Michigan, Victor, with future lockdowns, which you know they're coming. You know they're coming under Biden. They're setting the table for that if he wins. So they're going to lose their economy. The virus will still be there as it was in Europe after their lockdowns. So what do they get? They get a wrecked economy and COVID. So how would Michigan go along with this in any resort?
They're not going to. I don't think they're going to go along with it. I think this another element. This has always been a class issue that and Trump is finally doing a good job in emphasizing that. The people who are out there working and have small businesses and can't afford to, avoid and do what I'm doing right now, telecommunicating. They don't have a choice, and they've been absolutely destroyed. And Amazon and Walmart and all these large conglomerates and people in the professions and insurance and law, high tech, they've done pretty well. And they're the people telling the rest of the country, you've got to lock down more. You've got to lose more money. We have to have zero chance that you're going to get infected. But these people, if they did that, all the people like us, where I am, in an isolated room, we wouldn't have anything to eat. We wouldn't have any fuel. We wouldn't have any electricity. So it's really a terrible thing. And we're not even talking, Laura, about all the people who have died from missed surgeries that you've so eloquently had on your show, and spousal abuse, substance abuse. So it's really hitting the middle classes very hard. And I don't think they're going to take it, especially when these elites keep telling us that there's opportunities to be had in this crisis. not quite as crass as Jane Fonda that said, "Thank God for the COVID crisis," but something near that they can recalibrate American freedoms and manipulate the First Amendment under the guise that we're all going to die unless you let them take control of our lives.
I jump in, Victor, but in Europe, and this is a real quick answer on your part, in Europe, when people are standing up against the lockdowns, they're sending people in to call them fascist. So the people who are for freedom are now being branded as fascist and dangerous, and they're being blamed and shamed. Does that sound familiar? Real quick.
Yeah, it does. You go out and break the quarantine and you're either exempt or punished depending on your ideology and your political correctness. And that's what destroyed all
political correctness, people. Boy, and that's what's going to be happening in New Zealand. They will put you in those COVID camps. They're going to just tell you, say, oh, we believe that you got COVID-19, so we're just going to put you in those quarantine camps. I'm not going to say you have COVID-19. We're just going to believe that you have COVID-19. And they're just going to put you in those COVID camps because you happen to say what they don't like. For crying out loud, people. That's why pretty much freedom of speech is we're definitely under attack in New Zealand, so it's pretty much gone. We had to stand up for freedom of speech because there's a quote from Charles Dlive: "Without free speech, no search for truth is possible." Yeah, it's a quote, people. It's a quote. Close quote.
All confidence in the quarantine because it was unfairly applied according to politics and it was bankrupt. Now, Europe's doing what we did. You're exactly right. It's familiar.
Wow, people. Wow. Yeah. You heard those quarantine camps or concentration camps, what you like to call it. That's what communists do, people. It has happened in history. And you think it's not happening in New Zealand? It is. And I ain't gonna go to the 2020 election there. And boy, they say Trump's gonna lose. I just hope Trump wins because Biden is such a prick. Biden. And YouTube's promoting it. I see ads about it when every time I go to onto YouTube on my iPhone 11. I see those ads for Biden for president, and he is an absolute mate. He can't talk for himself. He had to have totally problems when he had on those contact lens or something. Boy, and Biden criticized Trump's over rally goers after the standards. Oh, man. The Democrats and Republicans, they are really so divided. Law plays in America, it's going to hell in a handbasket. I just hope Trump runs this, man. He's going through a lot. Well, Trump, stay strong. I'll just hope you win and get another turn, another 4 years in office. I just hope you can get another 4 years in office till the 2024 election. I hope you can stay in for another 4 years. I don't know anyone other than you, Donald Trump. I just hope you win. That's all I gotta say. Well, people, I know I've been testing some things on Dlive because I ain't gonna be doing a Dlive video tomorrow. It's going to be a long podcast, and I'm going to be starting around 8 a.m. at New Zealand time, and I hope to see you there, and I'll say, this is all I got to say for now. This is Matthew Miller, the Millennial Kiwi, signing off. Over and out.